everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Obsidian Podcast. Thank you for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the Obsidian Adventures episode that I posted a few days ago. It's just a little sneak peek into what I do when I'm not podcasting, when I'm not knitting, like life. So that was really fun. I have more of that coming up. Very excited. I have some stuff to share. Some cool things. Let's see. Let's get to whips. So my flax sweater in the yellow dye project yarn is coming along quite nicely. I'm on my second skein, or ball, I should say, little cake of the yarn. I have a third one that I'll be using for the sleeves, but, oh, it's not snowing, cool. Here is the progress on my flax. It's looking very nice. It's already got a shape. I'm almost done with the body, but it's very fun. I'm really excited with how it's turning out. The color is absolutely amazing. There's like different variances in the yellow. It's like some of it's dark, some of it's light. And doing the actual garter panel correctly is actually working well. I'm happy. And it's almost done. So I actually just need to work on things and continue on. And it's jingling because of my little stitch markers. I don't know if you can see, but it's a little ice cream cone, a bunny, and a little pig, and a teapot. I don't know. It's probably not going to focus really well, but hello. Pretend I'm not here. Am I not here? No. Let's try that. Let's try that. I don't know. It's weird. I love them, and I love this sweater. It's taking me a little bit longer than I would like, only because, I live my life, and I live it hard, which I'm trying really hard not to do. I really want to just be able to, have fun, have fun with this podcast, and do a bunch of cool stuff. I got some nice things for myself recently. If you saw my Instagram post, digging in my purse right now for it, I paid a visit to a new POC owned witchy shop, and I got this very amazing full moon spray. I hope it does a thing where it focuses. Probably not, but it's very cool. Let's see, what if I hold it in front of the camera? No, not a thing. It's just not going to focus. I got this full moon spray by Enchanted Wildcraft. It's a botanical room and body spray. It's got witch hazel. It has a very strong scent of jasmine and other essential oils. It's made here in Portland, which, I just love a locally made thing. It smells great. It smells really good. And I keep looking out the window because someone's got this cute dog outside. I'm so sorry. I'm very distracted. So I got that. I also got, where are you? I also got, which is really nice, this bundle of Oregon wildcrafted sage. I'm getting too distracted by these dogs. There we go. I also got this Oregon Wildcrafted sage. It smells really good. And, you know, understanding that there are certain species of sage that are endangered. Not all species of sage, don't let anybody lie to you. But there's some species of sage that are just not, they're endangered. Like, we shouldn't be, like, using them. You shouldn't be using it, especially if you're a white person. But I won't go into that right now. That's a different topic about cultural appropriation, and spiritual practice that is ethical and anti-racist. But that's another thing. We can go into that later. But I got this wildcrafted Oregon sage grown here in Oregon, picked by an indigenous person, sold at the store by another brown person. I feel really good about this cycle of brown community, brown solidarity, especially within like spiritual communities. But it smells amazing. I'm very excited to burn it and use it and all of that. So I got this. I'm going to put it back up there in my special spot. I also got, which is something that I'm like really excited about, I got How to Not Always Be Working by Marley Grace. I first heard about Marley through Homebody PDX, and she was coming through and doing a reading from this book that she wrote that started out as a zine, and then was going to go on tour with Waxahachie in Seattle promptly after. And I just like saw the post on Instagram and I'm just like, oh, that looks cute, and then just like moved on with my life. Come to find out that my friend and travel buddy Jamila Reddy knows Marley, and they did a thing together, I guess, on the internet. And I found this out from like scrolling on Marley's feed after buying this book. And I just saw this book, and it resonates with how I am trying to live and lead my life. I don't always want to be working. So this book I recommend. Let me just read the back for you. This book is a labor of yes. A labor of saying yes to the process, a labor of showing up, taking time, and taking a time out. You can read it on the go and take notes. You can fill its blank pages with your own lists. I include a lot of my own lists and ask some of my friends for some of theirs too. Hanging out with my friends, even when we're sort of working, is the greatest way not to work. I mean, it's a gray area, but it's human, and makes me feel whole and not disconnected. And that's just an excerpt from the book that's on the very back. And so yeah, How to Not Always Be Working, a toolkit for creativity and radical self-care. You just go in and just like define what is work for you. What is your job? What is your work? How do you make things that are fun, that you enjoy, and somehow mystically turn them into work when you didn't mean to? How to create balance, how to create your own special workspace. Working is work. I mean, it's very complex. I'm explaining it very badly, but this was only like $17. And I read it first time through, took a bunch of notes, did the workbook. I'm going to read this again. And, you know, use some of these things. Like, I'm very addicted to my phone. My husband will attest. And so, like, having, like, phone curfews, which sounds scary to me. But just, like, things that'll make you be a whole person again. Self-care, actually take care of yourself so you can do your work and find joy in your work. Things like that. So, I recommend this book to anybody and everybody. Pick it up at Woo, PDX. Lauren at Woo is amazing. And her dog Birdie is very adorable. And there's just like a bunch of really cool things. Tarot cards, beautiful jewelry, candles, crystals, books, and just chocolate, and like beautiful things. Go to Woo, buy this book, support local witches and local mystics and other folks who are queer, who are doing things. Oh, I should mention though, like I don't usually buy things from like white folks, especially white queers, but this book was tight. Marley seems pretty tight to me. This book really resonated with me. Just a disclaimer, I know some people are like really like adamant about like, I want to buy brown and black only. Meh. And I know just like ignoring dominant culture is like very real, very important. But sometimes people who are like doing work have really good things to say. And Marley seems like the type of person who's doing really, really good work. And some of the black folks in my life that I fuck with heavy are down with Marley. So I'm down with that. Another book that I am revisiting because I didn't finish it, and I feel like I cheated myself heavy by not finishing it, is The Artist's Way. I got into, according to my bookmark, I got into week 3 and then fell out of doing it because I get busy. But busy is not an excuse for self-care. It's not an excuse for self-improvement or growth. So, this is my new busy. I'm going to be doing morning pages again. I feel like I keep revisiting this and I just need to stick to it. I need to stop being a baby. But this book is absolutely amazing for anybody who's a creative type. Even if you don't feel like you're a creative person, everybody's got a creative bone in their body. Don't let anybody lie to you. And, you know, Julia Cameron is an absolute genius. I love this book. It really is a healing book when you're just like dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and feeling like you're inadequate or you're not doing enough or that your art is not worth it or like your writing is not worth it or your music or whatever you do, not worth the time of day. It really goes in to identify where those things come from. Really pushes folks to just like slow it down and write it out and like commit to the process of writing 3 pages of like brain blast a morning, and just moving through that shit. And I'm gonna start doing this again. So The Artist's Way, I got this at Powell's Books here in Portland for $10. I'm sure you can find this like on Amazon if you fuck with Amazon, or at your local bookstore, Queer Exchange, Buy Nothing. I'm pretty sure somebody in the world has this book. And I encourage you to tap into it, especially in this holiday season. It's really good to just do something nice for yourself, like morning pages and reading this book and doing some healing work, before you go out and like really give of yourself to other people. Which is why I like this book so much. It like calls my ass out, but then like makes me feel good. So Artist's Way. Do it. I don't know why I've been into these like weird self-help books, but they're not even weird. They're like so important because they just mean that you need to be self-reflective. Yeah, I kind of took a page out of Nina's book, who's Woolen Witch. Here on YouTube, you should find her podcast, watch it. And I don't usually do the book thing. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of fantasy books, and like young adult novels, or like a lot of science fiction. I love science fiction. I love an Ursula K. Le Guin book. I love a book. My library list is very long. So I rarely talk about the books that I'm reading because I'm reading so many of them. And also it's just like books are really personal for me. I like sharing that I'm like reading a thing. I'm like, oh, that was a good book I read. But I don't like talking about them. I am more of like an internal processor about books that I read. But these two books in particular are books that I am really stoked about. And I like read Marley Grace's book, and I was like knitting my sweater at the same time, like journaling. I don't know how I was doing it. I was on another plane of consciousness, but it was cool. Yeah. That's literally what I've been up to. I've had like 4 days off, and I've been doing absolutely nothing. And you know, doing absolutely nothing is really hard for me, because I'm always doing something. But it felt really good to do nothing and then do some things that were good for me, like really good for me, good for my soul. Yeah, self-care is wild, y'all. It's work, but it's wild. I highly recommend you start tapping into it. I hope you check out those books. I hope you start reading. Oh, let's also talk about a little poll I did on my Instagram. So I am low-key a traveler. I hate using that term. But I like to travel. I like to go see new things. I just did a trip to Oaxaca like 3 weeks ago, and it was amazing. I haven't really talked about it because it's a beautiful time, but there's just so much. There's so much that happened during my Oaxaca trip. And I want to do some more traveling. So I did a poll-ish, or just kind of like threw a question out on like, where should I go next? What places should I visit internationally? That isn't Mexico, because like I have gone to Mexico like 4 times in the last 2 years. And like, it's great. I love it. I love Mexico, but I need something new. So some of y'all have told me that I should go to Iceland, which, wow, that sounds great. Other folks have said London, and that sounds great because I would love to visit Loop, and check out their yarn shop, and a couple other folks. Where else? Folks also said Tuscany. Florence was one, which is like, they're both, Tuscany and Florence are pretty close to each other in Italy, so I'd be really into doing that. Paris. You know, I'm not really into like a big city, and I already have family that live in France, so I'll probably end up going like south of France area where like my family has their own little farm, and there's like a lot of farmers and cute shit. So I will definitely be doing France, because it'll be required of me to do France, like hands down. I'll be checking that off my list. Berlin was another place. I had I think 3 friends who have told me that Berlin is a spot to visit. And these are folks that I know who have like gone on tour and like played shows in Europe. And it's like unanimous, like Berlin is the place to be. The scene, the art scene, the music scene is really vibrant, and I'm into that. I would love to go to Berlin. So my top stuff for international travel, I have Iceland on my Google Flights tracking list. I have Berlin on my Google Flights tracking list, and I have Tuscany, Florence on my tracking list. And I feel like if I go to Berlin, I can definitely just do like a little to London, or just around, or if I go to France, I can just like pop over there, and then like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. London is expensive though, and that's the only reason why I'm just like, I don't know about London. Maybe when I'm a rich bitch who has tons of cash to do this travel thing that folks do. But we'll see. So that's international travel. And then I also prompted the question about domestic travel. And I made sure that the West Coast is off limits, because y'all, I'm from California. I've been to Washington like 12 million times. I literally live across the river from Washington. I live in Portland, Oregon. So the West Coast, I've done it all. Nevada, boom, did it. Like, anywhere that's a long those lines. Pretty much feel like I've done it. There's some states that I haven't been to, but so Eastern, folks have said Philly. I have some friends in Philly. I've heard some good things about Philly, so Philly's on the list. New Orleans. I've had like 12 people tell me that I need to go to New Orleans, so I must go. It is a must. I must travel to New Orleans. And last but not least, Boston. Boston sounds quite cool. Mostly because I would just be visiting Mackenzie, who does M to the Third podcast, and we would just have a great time. It'll probably be like the second time we've ever met in our entire lives, but it'll be glorious, and I would love to do that. Spend some time with sweet little Maple and go to all the knit shops and hang out with Mackenzie and knit. That would just be like absolutely amazing. So I will look into that. So those are the three: NOLA, Philly, Boston. And someone said Minneapolis. I have a lot of family who lives in Minnesota. I have not been to Minneapolis since I was like 13. I would totally be down to go, because why not? I probably won't go in the winter, because whoa. Minnesota winter is absolutely buck wild, and I cannot, no. But I will probably go in like summertime. I know it's humid as shit, and it's like really hot, and it's kind of gross, but I can do a summertime. I can definitely do a summertime in Minneapolis, or like a spring or fall. Fall could be very cute. I love anywhere with like lots of fall everything. So those are my 4 domestic places that I'm looking into traveling. All of them are in my Google Flights. I'm tracking all of those flights. We'll see what happens in 2020, where I travel, this and that. But I won't even stop there. I love to travel. As a Black person, I feel like it's my absolute right to travel. Yeah, and I should travel and feel safe while I do it. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to make it happen. I'm going to say yes to travel. Thank you everyone who responded to the Instagram mini poll thing. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions for me about stuff you want to see on here, or like things you want to hear more about, things you want to know more about in my my Raw Obsidian Adventures tiny series, let me know in the comments. Yeah, comment below what you want to see. I want to hear more from y'all. I want to like interact more with everybody. Please don't be afraid to just send a DM on Instagram, or even just like comment below. I don't know, just talk to me. I love talking with everybody. I want to build this really amazing knitting community. There's some really amazing people who are coming out with podcasts, or who are just creating these beautiful knitted works, or just artistic works, or natural dyes, all of that. So let's all connect. Let's build this community. Let's be friends. Thanks for watching.
If I ain't got you with me, baby. Oh. Ain't nothing in this hole. Don't mean a thing. If I ain't got you with me, baby.